My daughter Emma was getting married, and we were off to a family meeting. When we entered the designated room, Phil Henry and Mil Lauren were already seated. They looked like they were in the middle of a conversation, smirking unpleasantly. Looking at the table, I noticed that only 3 settings were prepared on our side. I realized this was their sly way of harassing us. "Please, take a seat." "Oh, just the 2 of you? We're a single-mother household," I replied, lifting the corners of my eyes, trying to stay calm. But Lauren let out a mocking laugh. "Oh, that's right. Maybe you should take this in a food storage container? Single mothers are poor, right?" Lauren covered her mouth, trying to suppress her laughter. Despite her harsh words, I kept my expression unchanged. Seeing enough, Emma tapped my shoulder. "That's awful. Mom, let's go." "Why leave? If it means you, who've sacrificed everything for me, have to suffer, I'd rather not get married." Touched by Emma's kindness, I smiled. "It's okay. Just wait a bit." Then, an employee came from behind with a food storage container. "Here, please take this home," he offered to Lauren. Henry and Lauren were taken aback, stunned. "If being poor is about low income, please, take it." "Huh? My name is Rachel. In my 50s, I feel like I've reached the midpoint of my life, living in a slightly spacious single-family home with my daughter, Emma. When Emma is at school, I sometimes feel a pang of loneliness in the quiet of our living room. That's when I make it a ritual to prepare 2 mugs of tea, one for me and the other for my late husband, Nathan. Pouring tea for Nathan and imagining he might be with me brings comfort. Nathan was diagnosed with cancer about 20 years ago and passed away suddenly as we were about to start his treatment. On his deathbed, he implored me to take care of Emma. She must become someone admirable. At that time, Emma was too young to remember much about her dad. To fulfill my promise to Nathan and to prevent Emma from feeling lonely or sad, I raised her single-handedly, balancing work, household duties, and parenting. Despite being a single mother, I managed to send Emma to college. Emma grew up to be academically excellent, beautiful, and a genuinely kind and wonderful woman. She's my pride and joy. After graduating, she got a job and started living on her own. "I can't always rely on you, Mom. It's time I do something in return for what you've done for me. Don't worry about me, just do your best. Eat properly, don't stay up too late, and come on, I'm not a child anymore." "What are you saying?" "You'll always be my precious child." The night before she moved out, Emma and I stayed up late, talking about the past, the future, and about her dad. We never ran out of memories to share, losing track of time. Even after Emma started living by herself, she would send various texts to my mobile phone. She would complain about unpacking, cooking, training at work, and colleagues. Each text made me feel as if Emma was right beside me, probably feeling lonely in her new life. But as time passed, the texts became less frequent. I assumed that Emma was finding her own way. I guess Emma is doing well. The lack of texts seemed to prove that Emma's days were fulfilling. And even the tea I brewed for Nathan seemed to nod in agreement. A year and a half after Emma started her job, I received a call from her. She sounded happy. "It's been a while," she said. "Mom, there's someone I want you to meet next Sunday. Do you have some time?" "Oh, it's been a while. Yes, I do have some time on Sunday." "Then, I'll come home on Sunday. Is noon okay?" "Yes, that's fine. Be careful coming here. It's been a while since I've seen you. You'll be surprised. Bye." After saying that, Emma hung up, and I stared silently at the screen. I wondered how long it had been since we last talked on the phone. Her unusually happy tone over the phone intrigued me, but when Sunday came, I was indeed surprised, just as Emma had said. At the door was Emma and a young man named Ryan. Ryan was not dressed casually but in a casual suit, looking slightly nervous. "Nice to meet you. I'm Ryan, and I've been seeing Emma for a while now." Ryan, who introduced himself, was tall with features like a movie star, and came off as a very polite and good young man. "Nice to meet you. Please, come in." After inviting them into the living room and making tea, we sat at the table where Emma gave an update and introduced him. Then, Emma said shyly, "So, Mom, the reason I wanted you to meet him is because we are thinking about getting married." Married? Though I had anticipated it, the fact that Emma had found someone still surprised me internally. I kept my composure, looking at Ryan, who now had a more serious expression. "Yes. I proposed to Emma recently, and I wanted to meet you, her mom." I paused for a moment before responding, and I said, "I see. I didn't know Emma has been seeing someone as wonderful as you." "Ryan, Emma doesn't have a dad, and I raised her by myself." "Yes, Emma told me she grew up in a household without a father." "Emma is my treasure, my precious daughter. Can you promise to protect her and make her happy?" "Of course. I am confident that I can make Emma happier than anyone else in this world," Ryan answered firmly, without flinching at my stern attitude. Had he hesitated, I might not have approved of their marriage. "All right. Please take good care of Emma." Hearing this, the two of them looked at each other, relieved, and smiled happily. Seeing them like this made me smile too. I think Nathan would have smiled in the same way if he were here. Months after sending off a happy Emma and Ryan, Emma took a long break and came home. She happily talked about her work and Ryan, but occasionally she looked troubled. When asked, she'd quickly change the subject, saying, "It's nothing, Mom." Whenever Emma wants to talk about something or lies, she shrugs her shoulders. This time, Emma did it again, so I was sure something had happened. "Hey, Emma. How about we try that new place? It's a brand new cafe here." I showed her the screen of my mobile phone. Her eyes lit up at the sight of the cafe. I wanted to go there. The coffee is popular, everyone at work says it's good." Then it's settled. The next day, Emma and I walked to the cafe. After ordering coffee to go, we walked for a while. "Mom, thank you for accepting my marriage with Ryan. He seems sincere. Take good care of each other, Emma." When we reached a large park, Emma started to talk. "Actually, I went to the in-laws' house. I feel like I'm not well liked by them." Emma's story went back a month. When she visited the in-laws' house, Henry and Lauren seemed skeptical at first glance. "Nice to meet you, I'm Emma. I'm dating Ryan." "Hey, Ryan. Are you sure about her?" Lauren interrupted Emma's greeting. "What do you mean?" "Well, she looks rather plain, doesn't she? Her clothes, her makeup, it all screams poverty. She doesn't match you at all." Without a word of congratulations, they blatantly insulted Emma. "Mom, that's rude. You shouldn't talk about my girlfriend like that." "Don't you think so too?" Lauren sought agreement from Henry, who was sitting next to her, and Henry nodded in affirmation. "Ah. Is your family that poor? Do your parents work?" "My mom works, and my dad passed away when I was young." "Single mother, huh? I figured as much," Henry said with a strangely satisfied look and scoffed. "Dad? It must be for the money. We come from a respectable family. You should stay away from a woman like that." "How can you say that? Emma is not like that. I know her best." Ryan just doesn't realize yet that there are many who would want to marry you for our assets. And then, he even suggested introducing Ryan to a daughter of an acquaintance. Lauren agreed with this proposal, pleased with the idea. That would be better. After all, we know someone respectable who works for a major company. Not a match for a single mother's family. Don't you think so, Ryan? Seeing Lauren happily agree, Ryan raised his voice. Enough from both of you, Dad and Mom. The conversation went nowhere, and Ryan and Emma left the house. Ryan later told me that Henry and Lauren have a strong sense of elitism. Emma, I'm really sorry. My parents said such awful things and hurt you. Emma was apologized to multiple times by Ryan, who promised to always protect her. Sitting on a park bench listening to this, I had to suppress my anger from exploding. So, what do Ryan's parents say about the marriage? Last week, we went to their house again. We faced some snide remarks, but Ryan convinced them, and they agreed to our marriage. Are you okay with that, Emma? Emma bit her lip and shrugged. Yeah, it's okay. We won't be living with them, and I can endure it. Is that so? It was clear that the relationship between Ryan's parents and Emma was strained. Even with Ryan's protection, there would be limits. Knowing they would face hardships, I wished I could advise them to reconsider the marriage. But having already given my blessing, I couldn't say that. Even in this short time, Emma looked downcast. Thinking she might always look this way saddened me. So, about the family meeting, I'm thinking maybe I shouldn't go. Why? If it's going to make you feel bad, Mom, I don't want to have the family meeting. Emma's eyes seemed to well up, even though she didn't cry. She was considering my feelings. Touched by her kindness, I smiled. Don't worry about me. Let's have the family meeting so that everyone can acknowledge your marriage. Under the cold sky, Emma and I sipped our cooled coffee on our way home. When Emma told Ryan she wanted to have the family meeting, he was very surprised. And he kept worrying about her, saying, "You don't have to push yourself. I'm fine. Mom says not to worry. If you say so, I'll talk to my parents about it." And so, on the day, Emma and I went to the venue. Though we didn't say anything to each other, I decided to stand tall and face them with confidence. We took a cab to the hotel, and both Emma and I took a deep breath at the entrance. But Emma looked anxious. When Lauren specified this hotel, she made a snide remark. "It's that famous hotel you see in commercials. A place your family wouldn't be familiar with." Emma took it to heart and became completely intimidated by the unnecessary comment. I gently pulled Emma closer by the shoulder, signaling with my eyes that everything would be okay, and we started walking together. We ran into Ryan at the entrance. He seemed to have arrived earlier and was waiting for the elevator. "Thank you, Emma and Rachel, for having time today." Ryan appeared much more nervous than the last time we met, sweating on his forehead despite it being winter. "No, thank you. We have been looking forward to today." You might have heard from Emma, but this hotel is where my dad works." Ryan seemed uneasy and worried about his parents possibly saying something offensive, given their behavior in front of Emma. I responded confidently, "Yes, I'm aware. No need to worry." "Ryan, you look better when you're confident." As Ryan looked up, the elevator doors opened, and we stepped in, riding up to the higher floor. Upon entering the room, Henry and Lauren were already seated, seemingly in the middle of a conversation, smiling creepily. Noticing that 3 sets of tableware were prepared on our side, I realized it was their sly form of harassment. "Ah, we've been waiting for you. Please, have a seat." "Oh, just the 2 of you? We're a single-mother household," I replied, lifting the corners of my eyes, trying to remain calm. But Lauren let out a mocking laugh. That's right. Maybe you should take this in a food storage container? Since you're poor. Huh? Single mothers are poor with low income, right? That's right. The income of a single mother is predictably low. Lauren covered her mouth, trying to hold back her laughter. Despite their harsh words, I remained expressionless. Unable to stand it, Ryan cried out. Dad, Mom, stop it. This is too disrespectful. At that moment, Emma tapped my shoulder. That's awful. Mom, let's go. Why? If having me means you suffer, Mom, I'd rather not get married. Hearing this, Ryan turned around in surprise. Emma. While watching them, I clearly said, it's not necessary. Just wait a moment. Then, an employee came from behind with a food storage container. Here, please take this home. He offered to Lauren. Henry and Lauren were taken aback, stunned. If being poor is about low income, please, take it. Huh? At least Rachel is far from poor. I firmly stated, and the employee, with efficient movements, placed the container down and stepped back, leaving Henry and Lauren outraged. Is this some kind of disrespect? That's it. You're fired. Both of you, please calm down. She's been a friend of mine since childhood. The rudeness is on your part. The employee turned back to me, smiled briefly, and said, the division manager always seems so busy. Division manager? Lauren and Henry gasped, tumbling out of their chairs like in a cartoon. Henry was sweating not just on his forehead, but all over his face. Though it wasn't my intention to hide it, I am the daughter of the president of the group company that owns this famous hotel. I've worked for this company for many years, continuing even after getting married without resigning. When I was pregnant with Emma, I took the same maternity leave as other employees and raised Emma while working in Nathan's stead. By the time Emma entered college, my efforts were recognized, and I was promoted to division manager, unbeknownst to Henry and Lauren. Are both of you okay? I addressed Henry and Lauren with a composed voice as they lay sprawled on the floor. Today, we came here for the family meeting regarding the marriage of my precious daughter and Ryan. It seems you have had quite a bit to say to my daughter. I glared at them, causing Henry and Lauren to tremble and shrink back. I've worked hard to provide love and education for Emma since her father, my husband, died from illness when she was young. Ryan swallowed hard. I believe in Emma, and I trust the person she has chosen. Even if he comes from parents who judge people by their income and are rude, I see Ryan as a polite and respectable young man, an important new member of our family. I paused for a moment before continuing. I would think you feel the same about your children. So, I ask again, do you approve of my daughter's marriage to Ryan? The room fell silent, with Henry and Lauren trembling. And Ryan looking nervous. Emma had never seen me take such a stance before. How about it? I pressed again, and Lauren, looking frustrated, glanced at Henry. Henry, pale-faced and flustered, hurriedly said, Of course. Director, we hope for a closer relationship from now on. Today, I am here not as a director but as Emma's mother. I stated firmly, looking at Henry. And if we're talking about work, isn't it true that Henry will soon be leaving here? What do you mean? I had investigated Henry's reputation within the company up until today. Knowing Emma's dad was Henry, I remembered his name. His condescending attitude towards Emma and his notorious behavior among hotel staff were well known. Henry was infamous for his high-handed behavior towards subordinates and was reported to be avoiding work under the guise of attending meetings. A hearing had been scheduled to address these issues. So, that's what it is. You should reflect on your actions. I left Henry speechless with my rebuke. Lauren stood up, face red, and lunged at me with a screech. However, I dodged, and she fell over. To the fallen Lauren, I delivered my final statement. And know this, if you ever interfere with Emma and Ryan's happiness again, I will not remain silent. With that, I firmly addressed the two, then led Emma and Ryan out of the room. Of course, I left the follow-up to the employee who has been a friend since childhood. Half a year has passed. The heat is relentless for someone in their 50s like me. The weather forecast predicts another scorcher today. As I walked to the supermarket, I thought back on the events. After the family meeting, Ryan apologized to Emma and me numerous times. I'm really sorry for my parents' rude behavior. It's okay. We've seen your sincerity. I'm truly ashamed. I don't want to associate with parents like that anymore. But they're the ones who raised you, right? No, it was my uncle who raised me. My parents left me with him until I was a college student. I had secretly wondered why Ryan's demeanor was so different from Henry and Lauren's arrogance. Understanding it was his uncle who raised him made sense. Ryan recently cut ties with Henry and Lauren after they approached him for money. Following the family meeting, Lauren called in a panic. Ryan, your dad lost his job. He was subjected to an internal hearing for negligence, making no sense at all. Ryan responded indifferently. That's tough. What do you mean, acting like it's none of your business? We're struggling without money, send us some. Mom, I heard about your spending habits from my uncle. You have a problem with wastefulness. What are you talking about? Maybe if you stopped wasting money, you'd have enough to live on. Don't rely on me. Such unnecessary talk. Then again, there were several calls, and Lauren had run through her savings due to her spending habits, even going as far as to say that Henry's retirement allowance was running out. Struggling to make ends meet, Henry and Lauren did not just ask for money but also reached out to me, wanting me to connect them over the phone. Morning, noon, or night, they didn't care when they called, which finally seemed to make Ryan explode in anger. Dad and Mom, please, enough. I don't want to trouble Emma or Rachel either. With that, he hung up the call and set Henry and Lauren's number to be blocked. Not stopping there, Ryan changed his mobile phone number and moved to a new apartment with Emma, changing their address. Of course, this was not communicated to Henry and Lauren, who remained unaware of Ryan and Emma's whereabouts afterward. Nothing stood in the way of their happy married life anymore. From what I've heard from Emma, they have been living peacefully since then. As for me, I've managed to maintain a good relationship with them, dining out with Emma and Ryan monthly. This incident made me realize a huge misunderstanding on my part. While I worked hard, thinking I was doing my best not to trouble Emma and raised her, I had completely stopped going on trips, which was my hobby. It seems Emma believed she was the reason I gave up my hobby, thinking my sacrifices were because of her. The efforts I made to spare Emma any hardship or worry ended up worrying her instead. From now on, don't worry about me. I want you to use your time and money for yourself. Until Emma told me this, I was enjoying living by myself at home, but afterwards, I started traveling more on weekends. As someone who loved domestic trips, I began visiting places I had wanted to go and places that held dear memories. And strangely, working hard daily made me feel it was okay to spend money and time for myself. Moreover, exploring the latest hotels started to benefit my work. Projects and such began to progress more smoothly, bringing me luck. As I thought of Emma's influence, I finished paying for my shopping and left the store. Today's shopping was for groceries to cook dinner together with the three of us. Glancing up, I saw Emma approaching from the opposite direction. Mom, are you okay? Don't strain yourself, let me carry that for you. Emma hurried over and effortlessly took the bag from my right hand. Oh, thank you. Shall we go then? Yes. Ryan said he'd come over as soon as he's done with work. He's looking forward to your chicken dish, Emma said with a smile. We'll need to make plenty then. Recently, we received wonderful news that Emma is pregnant. Ryan, Emma, and of course, I were all delighted. I'm planning a surprise for Emma and Ryan, looking forward to sending clothes and toys for the grandchild, though it's a secret from them. While I wonder if it's too early, I know before long, the child will be born. Though this new life has just been conceived, I'm already eagerly anticipating the day I can meet them.